Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Matt Jarbo here. Welcome to Whatever. Whatever, man. You know what this whole thing is? This is an old reboot of something I used to do a long time ago. It was an old podcast from like 2018, where I would just kind of like stream of consciousness my thoughts for the day, talk about shit, see what the hell's going on, that sort of thing. And I figured after this week, it's a good time to bring something like this back. And the reason why is because so many of you out there hate me. So many of you out there hate the content I make, hate the sound of my voice, probably hate the color of my skin too, you dirty racist bastards. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of people out there don't even really quite know who the fuck I am. People have told you things about me. You've probably seen some videos here and there. But for the most part, that's not necessarily the fairest representation of me as a whole. So I'm done playing nice. I don't give a shit anymore, especially about this channel. So I'm just going to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And we'll just see where it goes. We'll just, at the end of the day, just see quite literally where the fuck it goes. Because a lot of people this week have been talking to me about Gamergate, right? Because I brought up that whole thing. I tweeted about it the other day. And then I put out a live stream saying why it was a mistake. Now, mostly that was to be a bit hyperbolic and to be a bit of a dick. But the truth of the matter is, you know, I don't argue against the ethics aspect of Gamergate. I don't. But what I find to be really, really funny is that so many people got really up in arms about talking about the negative side of Gamergate. And that to me shows you that there was an echo chamber. And a lot of the people that are upset, the ones that are really upset, the ones that are really tweeting me and they're reading about it in the comment section and they're crying their eyes out over it. Like, how dare you, man? How dare you? How dare you? For one, fuck off. That's the best way to describe it. Like, literally, fuck off. You weren't there. Most of you weren't there. I've seen people say, oh, you have nothing to do with it, right? All right, first off, let's at least acknowledge the reality of the situation. I was there at the beginning. I was there at the beginning. The reason why that's important and the reason why I care about that is because I cared about ethics. And the reason why I got as emotional as I did watching that QAnon documentary is because there's a through line. And a lot of the people out there who were mocking me for it are the reason why there's a goddamn through line, which is why I don't take anything they say ever with any kind of actual meaning. The kind of people who, they're friendly to your face, but they'll stab you in the back sort of people. And the thing is, that's actually a lot of YouTube in a nutshell. YouTube brings out like the absolute worst in people. Let's be fair. Myself included. I'll be honest with you guys on that one. I'm not going to sit there and hide away and act like I'm some kind of a perfect angel. Fuck that. I fucked up multiple times. I fucked up. But at the end of the day, the reality of it is this. I've experienced a lot on this fucking platform. I know my way around the platform. And I understand the platform. I may not be the best at it, but I get it. And I've seen a lot of shit, and I catalog a lot of shit, and I watch a lot of shit. And that's the other side of this too, is a lot of people out there, they don't want to ever look at themselves with a proper reflective mirror. They never want to gaze into their own eyes. I guarantee you a lot of these people, when they go to the bathroom, they do so in the dark so they don't have to actually look at their own reflection. That they walk in with their head held low, making their way to the toilet while they sit down to pee. And never once actually look themselves in the eyes and ask themselves if what they're doing is the right thing. Because a lot of them, they're only driven, not even as much, I would argue, by ideology. Because if they were driven by ideology, maybe that'd be something I could, fucking get behind. I could respect people who are at least driven by ideology, because it's at least more realistic than the grift. Because a lot of these people, the best way to describe them, to use an odd terminology, but a true terminology, is a lot of these people are gay for pay. Now, if you don't know what gay for pay is, let me explain. In the gay porno industry, a lot of male performers aren't actually gay, but they get paid a lot more money to do gay scenes. So they just choose to go down that route. They become a gay performer because they make more money engaging in these particular scenes. Straight male porn star makes, I think, a couple $100, whereas a gay male porn star can make about as much as the female counterpart. So it's all a game. It's all a ruse. It's all a grift. It's all a lie. It's all something that they use as a way to just earn money. And I'm also not against the process of trying to earn money. I understand that this is a platform people put their time and their effort in. YouTube fucks us all relatively equally. However, when you start thinking about people who do this for a living and you look to see how their content has shifted over the last couple of years, you might notice a thing or two. Myself included. I used to be hardcore anti-feminist, hardcore, I wouldn't say MRA, but I would go, I was in line with them. I'm still friendly with a lot of the key MRAs that are out there. And I understand what their mission is. I get that. A lot of us, started off doing something, but then there's also a lot of people that realize that the path they were going down is not congruent with who they are as a person. But here's the biggest fucking kicker. The biggest fucking kicker is you probably don't care. And I mean that. I mean that legitimately. You, the listener, the viewer, the watcher, the one clicking on that video because you found the subject matter interesting or you're just randomly browsing or autoplaying, you don't probably actually care about the person on the other side of that screen. Why would you? Why should you? You don't know them. You don't interact with them. You don't do anything other than maybe listen to the sound of their voice. You don't do anything. So why would you ultimately care what happens to them? And this is an actual problem. This is a real problem, guys. A lot of us end up dealing with this issue because the apathy that comes from it is insane. Because here's the thing. We talk about cancel culture and we bring up cancel culture because cancel culture is real, despite what idiots on the left want to say. The right wing's been trying to cancel shit for years. The left's been trying to cancel shit for years. Both sides try to cancel shit that they don't like. That is not anything that is new. That is something that is 100% real. And if you don't believe me, at the very beginning of this, I dropped a little drop for parental advisory because I swear. And even that, late 80s, Tipper Gore, Joe Lieberman, pushing for this kind of decency in music. Well, we got to make sure. When someone please think of the children. And it's all ridiculous. It's all terrible. It's all stupid. But it's had an impact. And as a result of that, here we are, decades down the road, and it's the same fucking nonsense. That shit hasn't fucking changed, right? Maybe a new coat of paint, maybe a new target, maybe a new, argument to be made, but it's all the same. When you boil it down, when you strip it down to its bare essentials, it's quite literally the same fucking thing. The difference, though, is that when we're in a world like this, where we're connected via digital technology, that apathy level increases because, quite frankly, you don't give a shit about the person on the other end, right? You don't give a shit about what might happen. And I'll be honest with you, for the longest time, neither did I. But the reality of it is, the reason why that happened was not that I'm not an empathetic person, that I'm just full of apathy. It's because I never saw it. I never saw the response or the result of things that I had said and how it impacted people. There's a big argument to be made about whether or not, words can hurt. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never. It's an argument that gets made a lot on the internet. Like if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen sort of thing. But let's be fair. The dog pile is real. The dog pile is 100% real. And people will always try to take it to an extreme in order to get the response and the reaction that they want. That's just the reality of it, folks. It doesn't matter left or right. People will do that shit. And it never gets called out when it's your ideological opponent that's having it done to them. But if it happens to someone oh, well, you can't have that now, can you? It's because there's no accountability. And there's no equality on the subject matter. And it's all a game. It's all politics. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all theater, one way or the other. It's all meant to, quote unquote, entertain. And that's about it. The platform brings out the absolute worst in people more often than not because of the anonymity that surrounds it. And no, I am not saying that they should remove anonymity from YouTube. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that this is a reality. And that's just something I wanted us to kind of talk about that in the beginning of this whole thing, to get that one off my chest, because that is true. I've had people contact me that I've talked about. I've had family members of people that I've talked about in the news contact me to let me know that my videos, my words have caused them harm. And that is when my empathy kicks in. And that is when I take the video down. I don't have to, but I take the video down. And then I think about the things I say and how I say them. And I start to question if I've ever been the bad guy in these situations. And the reality of it is, yeah, I have. And again, people will sit there and they'll say, but man, you're simply just giving your opinion. You're just giving your opinion. How is that bad? How does that have any impact? Because it does. And if you think that it doesn't, I'm sorry, you're a fucking moron. If you think that it doesn't have an impact, you are dumb as shit. And you probably watch some of the worst people on this platform who will say and do the worst things imaginable to other people simply because it gets their pee-pee hard and it makes them money. They're not ideologically driven. In many instances, they are driven by the fact that they earn money off being a cunt. That's the other side of this. But again, the anonymity factor, the lack of actual engagement, the lack of looking somebody in the eyes when you say these things to them, all of these issues, none of it matters. So why should you care? It's all a game. It's all a laugh. It's all a LARP. It's all whatever. Every single thing you can say to deflect from the reality of the situation, which as sometimes this shit gets fucking crazy. And people will act in ways that they shouldn't. There's no way to really predict it, but there are ways to mitigate. And that's asking for responsibility, and that's asking for accountability. And again, you're just never going to get it. Because it's not financially viable to certain people. That's the whole issue. It's not about their conscience. It's not about what's right. It's about what they can get and how easy it is to get it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very apathetic towards YouTube these days. I don't care anymore. And it has a lot to do with the fact that horrible people exist. And horrible people sometimes get run off. Bad things happen to everybody. There are people out there who don't care what happened to me. And you know what? I'm not going to give a shit about what happens to them. That's just the way the world works. Is it apathy or I just don't fucking know you? So why should I care? And you don't know me. So why should you care? That's the other side of this too. We're voyeuristic in general. We're voyeuristic people. So as a result of being voyeuristic, we like to know what everyone's doing. We like to kind of be involved. We're all fucking church Karens. Let's be fair. We all gossip and talk. Just last night, I was getting DMs about this guy who I vehemently despise because he has made some accusations against me. And turns out he was getting catfished pretty heavily. And I'm not going to lie, schadenfreude, man. Oh, hell yeah. I was laughing my ass off at that shit. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out of my way to like attack this guy. Yeah, I'm laughing privately because I think he's a piece of shit and I think it's funny what happened. But at the same time, this guy is like getting roasted by everybody. And I don't even think that's fair. But the thing is, the reason why this guy's getting roasted is because he's very egotistical. And he's very hard-headed and he's very much a certain way. And so this is him in a vulnerable position. And so he's running from it. And I understand that. It's a self-protection sort of thing. Our ego is designed to protect us. I get that. So I'm going to laugh about it because it's funny. But at the same time, that's all I'm going to say about it. There's no point in tweeting about it. There's no point in driving the nail in deeper. There's no point of attempting to make this guy's life a living hell just because I don't like him and he finds himself in a bad situation. There's no point to it because it doesn't benefit him and it doesn't benefit me. I can laugh privately and get what I need out of that. Now, should I have done that a couple of years ago? Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. The way we handle things is totally different. Or I should have spoken up and said something back then. And I didn't. I let it fester. And that's the truth. But now, I'm just going to laugh at this guy privately and move on with my day. And hope that he gets, through it okay. Because that shit's embarrassing. And that's kind of the whole point of everything, right? Which is, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about Harry Styles here. When you've got Harry Styles and he dresses up like a mermaid Dresses up like Ariel from the Little Mermaid, and a lot of people out there are they're freaking out again. The right wing is freaking out again, just like they did. See, this is him right here, just like they did when they opted. When he wore a dress and Candace Owens starts going off about masculinity, and all this shit and all this culture war nonsense. And it's so funny to me because it's nothing more, like I said, it's nothing more than political theater. Harry Styles dressing up as Ariel for a photo shoot. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Who's never done something dumb in the moment as a joke? Who cares? Does Harry Styles dressing up as Ariel in any way impact your life in the positive or the negative? And the answer to that is no. How would it? It's not like Harry Styles is going to come to your house and fuck your girlfriend or your wife or your mom dressed like Ariel. Although he probably would have a pretty good shot because it's Harry fucking Styles. So he would have a pretty good shot at fucking your wife, your girlfriend, or your mother. And who knows, maybe they're into that sort of kink. But let's be real. A lot of the kinkiest motherfuckers out there, a lot of the craziest motherfuckers out there, these are the fucking people. These are the fucking people that are the most ardent about moral authority. Remember, what was that guy's name? Haggerty? Was it Haggerty? The evangelical? Oh, homosexuality is a sin. Jesus will strike down the homosexuals. I don't know his voice. I'm making that up as I go along, but this was a guy, if it's who I'm thinking of, total evangelical, total moral Puritan, total old as crap, found in a seedy motel, high on crack cocaine and with a gay male escort. And this isn't the first time this has happened. Even just recently, a guy who was very anti-gay marriage was caught in like a gay orgy. Because people hide themselves because they're afraid of themselves and they're afraid of what people will say about them. Instead of just dressing up like a fucking mermaid and having a laugh, all while he's going balls deep in Olivia Wilde, he doesn't care because he's comfortable enough in his sexuality to do that as a joke and still go and nail one of the hottest ladies in Hollywood. Don't believe me? Look at Alpha Dog. Just saying. That is the whole issue here. The people who are upset at Harry Styles are the ones who are either grifting because they're trying to play up some moral authority card of which they have absolutely zero reason to do or integrity to do. And again, going back to Candace Owens when she was freaking out over Harry Styles in a dress and going out there and beating her chest about, modernity and blah, 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 and rejected and tradition and all this shit. Never mind the fact that in 2016, she was called out by a lot of us on the left because she was trying to start a doxing website for children. She wanted to dox children who said mean things on the internet. She wanted to cancel kids because she thought that would be a deterrent against what happened to her when she was in high school. And she has now become even worse than that because she was always seeking the grift. She was always seeking the grift. And that's what these people do. They always do this kind of thing. They're mad at other people because they can't feel comfortable in their own skin. Their bigotry and their discriminatory habits are all going to be boiled back in to what happened to them when they were a child and how they were repressed when they were a child rather than embraced. Because the concept of tradition, the concept of all of those things is heavily rooted in oppression of people. Not systemic, but just of people and their upbringing. Boys don't play with dolls. Don't be an F slur. Get out there and play with your G.I. Joes, blow stuff up. But what if the kid doesn't want to? But the parents don't embrace that because they're afraid of how it reflects upon them. My kid ain't no queer. How it reflects upon them. And that is how hate transpires. That is how hate moves. Because it is not something that you are born with. It is something that you are taught. And both the left and the right need to fucking listen to that shit. Both the left and the right need to absolutely listen to that shit. But instead, the right will freak out over Harry Styles. And the left tries to cancel everything with a heartbeat. The pandemic really fucking sucks. It really does. It really absolutely blows donkey dick. It's just terrible shit. Everyone's all angry. No one's having sex. Child birth rates have dropped in the United States. Porn consumption, I'm assuming, is through the roof. But that only gets you so far. You know what I mean? That only gets you so far. The endorphins you get from bumping pelvises with your significant other or anyone else, really, pales in comparison to what you get from beating your meat. Or flicking your mouse, clicking your mouse, flicking the bean, schlick, whatever. What's the terminology for women masturbating these days? I don't know. I haven't had one of those conversations in a while. Maybe Urban Dictionary can let me in. I'll look at it later. Maybe I'll name that tomorrow's episode. Who knows? But again, the reality of the situation simply is this. People out there need to fuck. All right. They need to fuck. They need to have a release. They need to get rid of some of this pent up aggression that they have, which is only working its way online. People are just at each other's throats. And I've done it too. I've at the start of the pandemic a year ago, there's a lot of frustrations and I lost some friends as a result of that because of just miscommunications. And from there, it just kind of spiraled outward. And that's, unfortunate. But really, at the end of the day, people need a release. And so that's the biggest problem. So I would recommend that if there's something you like to do, go and do it. If there's something that gives you some kind of endorphin rush, go and do it. Do what you can to feel better. Take a little bit of time for you, a little bit of you time, a little bit of caring time. If you can get laid. I mean, if you can't drive to Nevada, there are very loose coronavirus laws there anyway, and pretty certain the bunny ranch is still open. You got your stimmy money? Go down Go get yourself an HJ or something. I don't know. I maybe there's places where there's massage parlors that are open that are close to you. I don't even know the legalities of those in many instances. But I'm pro prostitution. Fuck it. You legalize it, you tax it. Jesus Christ, it's a growth industry. People have been selling it for years. They just do it on the black market, man. Market that shit. Make money on that shit. Anyway, and the last thing I kind of wanted to touch upon here is this whole situation coming out of New Zealand, where apparently they're looking to ban anyone born after 2004 from buying cigarettes. They want to ban people from buying cigarettes because they want it to be smoke free by 2025. They want New Zealand to be smoke free. Okay. I mean, like, as an ex-smoker, in a few months, I'll hit 15 years. So I'm very happy about that. I feel like it's added time to my life. Sorry, haters. I plan on sticking around for a while. But I don't know how to feel about that. I'm a little bit I'm like, I get it. At the same time, it's like, well, I mean, people want to make their own choices. And smoking, I like smoking. I quit before the vape craze. So I kind of already had trained my body to not want cigarettes. So vaping is kind of out of the question. But like those kind of I get it. But I feel like that's only going to push people to sell smokes on the black market or to import vape cartridges. And just like sit at home and vape in the room. Vape where no one's watching. And that only pushes it further underground. I understand that New Zealand's a very progressive place, but it still comes across to me as a little bit weird. We'll have to wait and see how it goes, if it even happens. But I kind of feel with New Zealand, their prime minister is probably going to push for it, and we'll have to wait and see. Should be fascinating. Should be really fascinating. I mean, at this point, look, if science could figure out a way to either like cure lung cancer or mouth cancer, if you happen to be a chew aficionado, and cigarette sales would come back. But at the same time, tobacco companies, they're going to be lobbying hard to make this not a thing. And that's when it's going to get real fascinating. So we'll have to wait and see, but I just wanted to touch upon that as we come to the close of whatever for the 16th of April. If you are listening to this and you find it to be enjoyable, by all means, thank you. You can leave a like if you want. No one can see it. I've disabled them. I've done that out of my own little protest and shit like that. Get rid of all that crap, in my opinion. And YouTube is still making it a thing to like not show you. It's pretty funny. And then if you want to leave a comment, by all means, leave a comment. Call me whatever you want to call me. It's fine. I don't really care. And then if you have anything you want me to talk about, let me know. Let me know. This is just stream of consciousness shit. I don't really care. I'm not. I've said cunt in this thing. I'm not going to make any money on it. So at this point, it's just trying to whittle down the subscriber count to under 100,000. We can do it with your help of not subscribing to this channel. I can achieve my goal of getting under 100,000 subs again. Under 100K by 2022. I think we can do it. I think I can lose 20,000 subs in the next 6 or 8 months. I believe in you. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace out.